Welcome in to another episode of Women's Basketball Now, here on the Hoop Central YouTube channel. This is Hamilton Neal joining you as always. We thank you, the viewer, for taking the time. Also, very excited for what we have coming up here on the channel at the end of the month of May. We have June coming up as well, which is going to be a very huge month for us. We're going to have a ton of content, whether it be the WNBA. We're going to have our Around the W podcast returning very soon. Obviously, regular season is in full swing there. Whether it's women's college basketball with the transfer portal, recruiting, matchups for next season, like we're going to talk about here on this show, anything and everything related to women's basketball, we're going to have here at Hoop Central. But again, here on this episode today, we're specifically focusing on the Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase. The two matchups for this event have been announced. It's UConn and Florida State, and Villanova and Iowa State. We're going to have full previews of both of these games and give you a look at what you should expect from both contests. So again, we're going to start first with the UConn and Florida State matchup. It's the first game at the Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase, Sunday, December 18th at Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. This year marks the 9th edition of the Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase. Game times and TV broadcast details will be released at a later date. Last season, the Huskies fell in the Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase 69-64 to the Louisville Cardinals. UConn is 9-0 all-time against Florida State. They last played on November 14th, 2016 in Tallahassee, with UConn winning that contest 78-76. UConn also defeated Florida State 73-49 at the 2015 Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase. Seminoles last season went 17-14 overall and lost in the first round of the NCAA Tournament. This is a Florida State team that was very good last year in the ACC. Not a great basketball team by any stretch, but a very, very good team. Again, 17-14 overall, lost in the first round of the NCAA Tournament. They had some good personnel on this squad. Morgan Jones was their leading scorer, averaged 13.8 points per game. River Baldwin in the post averaged 6 points per game, but those two players are now gone. Morgan Jones going to Louisville, River Baldwin headed to NC State. So those two are still in the ACC, but not with Florida State. So other players are going to have to be called upon to step up, like Omaria Gordon, who averaged 7.4 points last year, Sarah Behetti, 6.4 points per game, Sammy Pusis, 5.8 points per game. Players like this are going to have to really step up and make plays for them and carry more of that load this year, because as far as incoming transfers and stuff like that, it's been very quiet at Florida State this offseason. And there's more transition because Sue Semrau retired after the season. So this is going to be a very new look Florida State team. And this is a squad that offensively, they're not going to blow you away. They were only ranked 137th out of 356 Division I schools in points per game at 65.3. Their possessions per 40 minutes, only 69. That was ranked 228th in the country. So offensively, they don't play very fast. And again, their points per game was a lot lower than other teams in that ACC. So on the offensive end, like I said, they're not going to blow you away. They're not going to hit tons of shots. It's a lower scoring team that also struggled on the defensive end as well. Opponents' points per 100 possessions, they were only ranked 127th out of 356 D1 schools. So on both sides of the basketball, they were good, but they weren't great. And with the losses that they sustained this offseason, again, especially Morgan Jones, but also River Baldwin as a post presence, this Florida State team hasn't gotten better. I don't think they're going to be a better team this year than they were this past season. And I think with what UConn does offensively, with the pick and roll action, the screen and roll with Paige Beckers coming up and kind of hitting that mid-range jump shot, UConn's offense, their motion offense, is going to be able to operate at a very high level here in this game. So I think UConn will have their way with Florida State in this contest. Maybe a little test early, but I think UConn will eventually pull away and win, because not only that motion offense, but what they do playing inside out with the post players. UConn's going to have an advantage there as well with Dorka Juhas, with Aaliyah Edwards, with Ice Brady, etc. So inside and out, I think that UConn is going to have many advantages here in this game. And when you look at UConn defensively, Florida State, again, they don't play that fast pace, and their ball movement's a little slow. And something that we've seen UConn struggle with, obviously, is post play on the inside, but quick perimeter ball movement on the outside. And Florida State doesn't really pose a threat in either of those areas as well. So I like the matchup for UConn. Just when you're looking at the numbers and the way that these two teams play, I think Paige and AZ Fudd coming off the screen and rolls and the pick and roll action with the bigs, that's going to be a very huge emphasis in this game, because UConn, obviously, as a three-point shooting team, they're a good three-point shooting team. They're not the best three-point shooting team by any stretch. So when you're looking at perimeter play and jump shooting, it's a lot of that mid-range stuff with Paige Beckers and with AZ Fudd, with other players flanked out in the corners and on the wings like Caroline Ducharme. And that movement and the attention that Beckers and Fudd get allow a player like Ducharme to hang out there on the wing and in the corner and get some shots. So you're going to see her benefit from that. You're going to see Lou Lopez-Senechal benefit from that as well. So definitely like this matchup for UConn against Florida State. It's going to be interesting. Again, it's a good Florida State team, but not a great team. But again, UConn in the non-conference, they need as many games against good teams as possible, because in the Big East, Marquette and DePaul are really good basketball teams, and Villanova's a really good team as well, but it's not a deep conference with tons of opportunities to get resume building wins. So obviously, like it has been for a while now with UConn in the non-conference, they're going to need opportunities against high-quality power conference teams, and they're getting that here with Florida State at the Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase. So that's the first matchup, Huskies and Seminoles. The second matchup is Villanova and Iowa State, one of the best teams out of the Big East against one of the best teams out of the Big 12. Now remember, Villanova this past season, really good, 24-9, went to the second round of the NCAA Tournament where they lost to Michigan, got to the Big East Championship game as well, where they lost to UConn big, but they had the Player of the Year in the conference in Maddy Siegrest, and as she goes, they go as well. And a big reason why they went 24-9 and made the dent that they did this past season was because of the play of Maddy Siegrest. Without her, that team is not in the NCAA tournament. So when one player has such an importance to your basketball squad, everything's going to go around them. And she's versatile because she can play some inside, she can play some outside, and that's why she gave teams trouble. That's a team that beat UConn in the regular season last year. And Maddy Siegrest had a really good game then and had just a great season overall, again en route to a Big East Player of the Year award honor. So this is going to be an interesting matchup because this is a Villanova team going up against Iowa State, who they play quick and fast, high-octane, up-tempo offense, just the opposite of what we talked about with Florida State. Florida State plays very slow, and they want to really kind of shut you down. Again, defensively, they've been okay. Offensively, they're just not quick at all. The pace and the movement's very slow. Iowa State is very fast-paced offensively. They were in the top 25 in the country in points per game, points per 100 possessions, and margin per 100 possessions. So you just break down those stats there, which you can find tons of great stats at herhoopstats.com. This is where we got all these stats for all of these teams here. Go check them out. They have a really good database of stats, and if you pay for the subscription, then you're going to get even more access to stuff like that. So Her Hoop Stats is a really good place. Basketball Reference is a great place to look at individual player stats. And when you look at the individual player stats for Iowa State, they lose Aubrey Jones and Ashley Jones. And their leading returning scorer is Lexi Donarski at 14.3 points. Got Emily Ryan returning at 13.1 points. Morgan Kane averaged 7.3 points. Was really more of a role player for them this past season, but is one that's going to be very, very important for them. Again, with the loss of the Jones sisters, she's going to really have to step up and play a big role. But as always, it's going to be backcourt focused at Iowa State with Donarski and with Emily Ryan. Again, 14.3 points for Donarski, 13.1 points for Ryan this past season. And again, this is a team that can score. Those two combined for 27 points per game on top of what the Jones sisters did. So every single year we see this team fill up the stat sheet. They're always high scoring. So I do give them the edge going into this game against Villanova because of their offense. But definitely look at Lexi Donarski and Emily Ryan on their side and expect them to continue to score the basketball, and expect for Villanova, Maddy Siegrest to be Maddy Siegrest, playing at a Big East Player of the Year type of level again. I think she could have an opportunity to be in the mix for that award. But with Paige Beckers, if she plays a whole season for UConn and averages close to 20 points per game like she did her freshman year, then you could see her take it, because at UConn, again, Paige Beckers' her freshman season was one like we had never seen before from a first-year player. Obviously, it's third-year Paige Beckers. And while she has, obviously, her same skill set, she has seen the defenses. She's stronger. She's smarter out there on the basketball floor. She's always had a high IQ out there. But with the experience that she has now, facing some adversity with the knee injury, I think she's going to be on a mission this year. And this team is going to be on a mission as well to get back to where they were last year, which was the national championship game. But overall, we have an incredible Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase set up with UConn and Florida State and with Iowa State and Villanova. Some of the best teams from their respective conferences. Obviously with the Huskies, they're one of the best teams in the country, not only in the Big East. Villanova right behind them. Iowa State out of the Big 12. They're obviously competing with the likes of Texas and Baylor. And then you have Florida State in the ACC, who they're going to be competing with Louisville, with North Carolina. Obviously Notre Dame had a great year this past season. North Carolina State. Duke is an interesting squad coming into the year. They really fell apart late in the season in conference play. They had a tremendous non-conference, but right when they lost to South Carolina, right before conference play started, the whole season fell apart, and they didn't even make the NCAA tournament. But Carol Lawson's a really good coach. I think they're going to come back and have a really good season. So definitely expect the best from all three of those conferences, some of the best in the entire country in women's college basketball. So again, UConn, Florida State, Iowa State, Villanova at the Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase. That's all the time we have on this episode of Women's Basketball Now, but continue to keep it locked here on Hoop Central for all things women's hoops. Give this video a like. Don't forget to subscribe as well. Hit that notification bell also, so when we upload these videos, you are notified. This is Hamilton Neal signing off for now, but I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.